Hey everybody. In this video I'm going to cover a very common problem I think in today's world with working online and remotely, and that's with potential customers and clients stiffing you on payment later on or ghosting you after you've done work. And with Excel, one of the things you can do to mitigate that risk is to add a few lines of code and a simple macro to run to prevent that, or at least minimize the odds of that happening to you. And so, even if you don't have a lot of coding experience or even any at all, I'll show you how you can do that really easily in Excel, and at least sort of minimize the chance that you don't end up in that situation. So I'm going to go into the Developer tab. You can enable this through the Excel options, and I'm going to launch Visual Basic. You can also use a shortcut Alt F11 to get into here. And so in here, I want to make sure I'm in the workbook object here. Select workbook from the dropdown, and by default, it opens up this workbook open event, which is what I want, because whatever's contained within this sub procedure, that's going to run when the file gets opened. And what I'm going to add here is just a simple if statement in Visual Basic. I'm going to say if the date, and in this case date is going to be the current date, is greater than date serial, and date serial allows me to specify a year, a month, and a date. And I'm going to enter in 2022 for the year, 1 for the month, and 1 for the day. So January 1st, 2022. So if the current date is greater than January 1st, 2022, then I'm going to say launch a message box saying, okay, please contact admin at HowtoExcel.net to gain access to this file. Now, obviously, you can put in whatever message you want. The point is to direct them to contact you to say, hey, if you want to access this file, contact me. And now to prevent someone from using your file further, what you can do is active workbook.close, and that'll shut it down. And we're done. The only thing you want to do is make sure you save this as a .xlsm file, a macro-enabled file, and then the macros will be saved in here. So I'm going to hit save. Now my file's done. What I'm going to do now is open this file back up, and then you'll notice once I do that, I've got this enable content, right, for these macros. So right now the file is working fine. So this is why you may want to add any macros that you can to justify to a file, especially if you're working on a big project for this purpose. Because once I hit enable content, now the macros run. See, now it gives me that message saying, please contact me at HowtoExcel.net. Get access to file. Once I hit OK, shuts down. Now I'm back into the other file that I had open. So that's the advantage of having that. You can set this to a date into the future and make sure that if someone stops responding to you, or you're not getting a response from, it'll automatically shut down the file and prevent them from being able to use it and benefit from all the work that you've done. Now, obviously, if they don't enable the content, there's the potential to go in here, if they know enough about Visual Basic, to delete this and clear this out. But you can also put a protection on your macros. I'll show you that in a second. But first, I'm going to show you an example of how we can set this a date into the future. So right now we're in March 2022, so I can change this one to say October 1st, 2022. And this way, I'll save this, and now let's reopen up this file, and this time there should not be any prompt because it's far enough in advance that the message wasn't triggered. So that works just fine. So that's exactly how I want it to work. So that allows you the flexibility to set a date into the future, knowing that, okay, if by this date, you haven't gotten payment, you'll get that message. Now, obviously, if you've gotten the payment and everything's good, you would go in here and clear this macro. That's the whole point of this. And if you're worried about someone, knowing enough about Visual Basic to be able to go in here, clear this out, what you can do is protect your project. You can go to File, Tools, and Project Properties, Protection, lock project for viewing. So I can just enter a simple password here. Doesn't matter how sophisticated. And now it's going to be locked down. So now, save this one more time. Close this file up. And now, when I reopen this, I'll still have my macro in here. But now if I go to Visual Basic, I cannot open this without a password. So now if I enter it, now I see my macros in here. So a really easy way to protect yourself. So I'll save this back to January 1st. Save it. Close it and show you one last time how running this can be a way to protect yourself. So now because I've already enabled macros, it's remembering that I've enabled content. And so right away it's saying, please contact, gain access to this file, and then it's closed down. So the benefit of that is that someone's not going to be able to run your file or use it unless they're able to modify that code. And by putting in that rule in there, that macro, you can stop people from using your file even though right now it's working. It's a way that in the future you can prepare for that possibility if you're worried that you're doing work for somebody and they're not going to pay you for what you've done. So hope you found that useful, and by all means I would suggest if you're dealing with somebody to think about deploying something like that to protect yourself.